Welcome to 1-800 Are You Flapping? Double slapping, no napping, scrapping, and also if you're keeping score at home. Unflappable. We're playing Zetalpa, Primal Dawn. 6 colorless mana, double white, flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. Now, what are we doing with Zetalpa? This is a very heavy Voltron deck with a lot of artifact ramp. We are playing mono white, so it's a little bit hard to get to 8 total mana without using the use of artifacts. So we're going to be using artifacts to get that down to help us pump out a really quick Zetalpa. Then at the same time, once we finally do get down Zetalpa, we want to go beat sticks and put as much equipment onto Zetalpa as possible. We are playing a big dumb creature, and it's indestructible, so we don't really have to worry about it dying to any sort of first strike, death touch, anything like that. It's just send it into the red zone and kind of have some fun. Let's take a look at some of the Voltron pieces that we are running in here. So we're running Sword of Feast and Famine, Quiet as Spike, Sword of Fire and Ice. All 3 of these cards trigger on combat damage. With Zetalpa having double strike, we're going to get some extra value out of these cards. I'm not going to cover every single one of them, but basically, long story short, we're going to get extra value simply because Zetalpa has double strike. Now, outside of these cards, we are running Strata and Loxodon Warhammer. With Strata, Zetalpa gets down, it is a 4-8. There's going to be some games to where if you don't have a Voltron piece out, it's going to be a little bit hard to get commander damage. You're looking at swinging in for 8 commander damage a turn with that 4-8. But if you can put something on there that really buffs its power, it's going to make it a lot easier. You might even be able to one-shot some commander damage. Take Strata. It's going to get +1 for each lane on the battlefield with the same exiled card. Most of the time, you're going to be naming planes with that. I can't really imagine a scenario where you wouldn't. But most of the time, you'll be naming planes, and simply getting it into the 10 range is going to give you enough to go 10 or 11 range is going to give you enough to close out the game in a one-shot commander damage with that double strike. Same thing with Loxodon Warhammer. With that lifelink, we're going to spend a lot of time doing some early turns setting up a lot of stuff. With the Loxodon Warhammer, once you put it onto Zetalpa, it's going to allow you to kind of get a little bit of a buffer on your life total. If you get your life totals down low, you can swing with a 4-8, say it's a 6-8 or something like that because of one of your enchantment pieces, one of your Voltron pieces. You can gain some extra life and kind of give a life buffer as that. And we're also running Hero's Blade, a great card for the deck whenever we're spending 8 mana to get Zetalpa down. Once it enters the battlefield, the fact that we get to equip it for free is really good. Now, outside of the actual Voltron pieces that we're running, we have some Voltron support cards in here. Masterwork of Ingenuity, we can have it enter the battlefield as a copy of one of our good Voltron pieces on the battlefield, or we can copy one of our opponents. Thank you very much. We're also running Armory Automaton. Let's say that something does happen to Zetalpa, but we can't get it down for some reason. With Armory Automaton, it's going to allow us to have a secondary Voltron piece back up. Basically, we can get it down, equip everything on there, start swinging in at our opponent, and then Dolmen Gate. Zetalpa does have double strike, but we are running a lot of support creatures in here. So with Dolmen Gate, it's going to allow us to, let's say that we need to go beat sticks with something like Stoneforge Mystic and a Sword of Feast and Famine or something. Dolmen's Gate's going to allow us to make sure that creature kind of sticks around to see the light of day. And of course, we're also running stuff like Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boost to give protection to Zetalpa. Now, outside of the actual artifacts itself, we are running a few different support spells that really help us kind of push our game plan. We have Steel Shaper's Gift. It's going to allow us to tutor for an equipment card. Open the Armory is going to allow us to search for an aura or an equipment card. And the Sigarda's Aid, really great. We can cast our aura and equipment as though they had flash. So we can actually cast this stuff in response to some removal stuff and equip it onto Zetalpa. Now, outside of the artifacts, we are running a couple different auras in here. We have Spirit Mantle and Unquestioned Authority. Both of these cards are going to give us protection from creatures, which is really matters to us because that way we don't have to worry about anything having reach or any sort of weird board state. We can simply slap this onto Zetalpa and swing into the red zone. Now, outside of the Voltron pieces, one of the main things that we need to run here is protection for Zetalpa. We have a really heavy mana investment in that. So we're running stuff like Rebuff the Wicked. Oh, there's no better feeling than rebuffing a counter spell targeting Zetalpa. A counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. Teferi's Protection's in here to give some protection from board wipes. And then we have Apostle's Blessing to protect Zetalpa. Or, let's say that our opponent wants to target one of our Voltron pieces, we can protect that artifact too. Outside of these cards, we have Brave the Elements and Mother of Runes. I just really enjoy imagining Mother of Runes running out on the battlefield and like throwing our arms up in the air, like trying to protect the bird. I don't know, it's just a really funny mental image as I played this deck. I just really enjoyed Mother of Runes, like, leave my son alone. I don't know why she has a southern accent. Anyway, let's go on to the next thing. So, we are running a very light taxing / stacks effects in here. We have Windborn Muse and Ghostly Prison. It's going to make it a little bit hard for our opponent to swing in. You don't really want to go overboard with tax effects. The main thing is you just want to run a couple of them in there just to kind of have your opponent not swinging at you. You're getting a lot of artifacts down. Just like, hey, man, just attack somewhere else. Leave me alone. Let me do my thing. We're also running Authority of the Councils. We're going to have our opponent's creatures enter the battlefield tapped. It's a great tempo play for us. And at the same time, let's say it is late game and our opponent does finally find something with flying or reach. If we have Authority of the Councils down, it's going to allow us to kind of push in past our opponent. Now, outside of the tax/controlling effects, we are running a couple more white gotcha spells. Mana Tithe and Lapse of Certainty. Nobody ever plays around these cards, and you get a really, even if you lose the game, the fact that you get to Mana Tithe or Lapse of Certainty something, it's a really good feeling. And then Comeuppance is kind of like an instant speed board wipe in a way, however you want to say it. It just really kind of puts your opponent in this weird spot once you go for Comeuppance and kind of clears the board out, leaving you to swing it with Zetalpa on the back end. Now, we are playing Mono White, and one of the things Mono White is not very good at is drawing cards, so we have to turn to artifacts for that. We have stuff like Seer Sundial, Mind's Eye, Staff of Nin. These are all different ways that allow us to draw cards throughout the game. Seer Sundial has landfall, so we can pay 2 mana once we make a land drop and draw a card. Outside of that, Book of Wrath and the Immortal Sun. The Immortal Sun actually works really good in this deck. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. Our spells cost 1 less, so it's going to work towards Zetalpa, and then it's also going to act as a buff for Zetalpa, allowing us to swing in. And the Book of Wrath, that is a little expensive. 6 mana, 2 mana, pay 2 life, draw a card. But hey, there's no worse feeling than sitting there with 1 card in your hand, a mono white, and nothing to do. You usually want to do as much stuff as possible with Zetalpa. So the Book of Wrath is going to allow us to kind of convert our life total into some card draw, which is much needed sometimes. And then outside of that, we are running Cohesive Portal as another way to kind of just get some card draw going. But if things get a little bit crazy, you can blow the board up. And then Azor's Gateway. Azor's Gateway is a great card to run in any sort of monocolor deck or really any commander deck. I love it. The best way to think about Azor's Gateway, if we do get it to flip, it turns into a land that allows us to tap to add mana of any color, of a single color equal to our life total. That's always nice. But the best way to think about Azor's Gateway is to think about it as 1 mana looting. You're going to be able to pay 1 mana, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand. It's not going to go to the graveyard. It's going to get exiled. But basically, it's going to allow you to kind of start filtering, digging deeper into your library. And if you get it to flip, hey, it's awesome. And in fact, I get it to flip in one of my videos. So if you want to see Azor's Gateway get flipped, go check those videos out. But yeah, it just provides a really good service and allowing you to filter some card draw. And then late game, if you get it to flip, awesome. I'm thinking about putting it into Gonti because the thought of, filtering over the turns and then casting for like a really big Exsanguinate or something like that. Oh, sounds really good. Now that is going to wrap up the deck tech. Hope you enjoyed. I have 3 gameplay videos for you to go check out. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.